What if a country suddenly double its prison time for same-sex relationship and not a single member of parliament voted against it? That's exactly what just happened in Senegal. In a stunning vote of 135 to 0, lawmakers approved one of the toughest anti-LGBTQ laws in Africa. The new law does not just punish relationship anymore. It now criminalizes promoting, supporting, and financing same-sex relationship, with prison sentence reaching 10 years. But this story is bigger than one law. It reveals a growing clash between African cultural politics and Western social values. So the biggest question is, why did Senegal pass new law now? And what does it mean for African and the world? Well, welcome to Streetwise Politics, the deep dive on the Streetwise Politics. Today, we'll be taking you through to Senegal and we'll be looking at the new law Senegal has also published out according to their lawmakers in accordance with the anti-LGBTQ in Senegal. Now, let's move on. The part one of the new law and the anti-LGBTQ is what the new law actually says. To understand the controversy, we first need to understand what changed until now. Senegal already criminalized homosexuality under the Article 319 of its penal code. The punishment used to be 1 to 5 years in prison, but the new law dramatically expands the penalties now. Same-sex relationship can carry up to 10 years in prison. Promoting or supporting LGBTQ activities can lead to 3 to 7 years in prison, and fines can reach $17,000. Even more controversial, authorities can now prosecute people accused of organizing LGBTQ events, funding LGBT organization, policies supporting same-sex relationship. This means the law is no longer just about private acts. It now targets activism, expansion or expression, and association. The part two of the vote is here. The vote that shocks the observers. But the most shocking part of the story was not the law itself. It was the vote. The bill passed 135 to 0 in Senegal Parliament. Only three lawmakers obtained. That means no penalty, no political party openly opposed the law. In most Western democracies, a vote like this would spark fierce political diversions, but in Senegal, it shows something very different. There is broad political consensus on this issue, and that consensus reflects something deeper: public opinion. And then the part three is here is that why many Senegalese support the new law. Let's take a look at it. To understand the vote, you have to understand Senegal society. Over 95% of the population is Muslim, and religion plays a major role in social values. Many religious leaders have long argued that LGBT rights threaten traditional family structures. One of the most influential movements pushing for stricter laws in an Sam Jiko, a powerful coalition of religious and civil society groups. For years, they have organized rallies demanding stronger laws against homosexuality. Their message is simple. They believe that LGBTQ activism represents Western cultural influence imposed on African society, and that argument resonates with many voters. For politicians, supporting stricter laws can therefore be seen as defending national culture. The part four of the political strategy behind the law. The law is also tied to the agenda of Senegal's new leadership. The current government, led by Ousmane Sonko, came to power promising to defend Senegalese sovereignty and cultural identity. That is a Sani. During the election campaign, leaders pledged to resist foreign pressure on social issues, and for many supporters, this law is seen as a proof that the government is seeking that promise. But politics is really simple. Some analysts believe the law also serves another purpose. It may help direct public attention away from difficult issues like unemployment, rising prices, economic frustration. Throughout history, governments under pressure have sometimes turned to cultural war politics to unite voters. Now, the part five of which is the crackdown, was already happening. Even before the law passed, arrests were already increasingly. Reports say dozens of men have been detained in a recent month. Many arrests were triggered by accusations from neighbors, social media posts, for phone searches. Human rights groups warn that this creates an atmosphere of fear. People can be targeted simply because someone accused them. And critics argue that laws like this can also lead to blackmail and extortion. If someone identifies is criminalized, criminals can threaten to expose them. The particulars of it is that Senegal is not alone, and Senegal is part of a wider trend across Africa. In the recent years, several countries have passed tougher anti-LGBTQ laws. For example, Uganda passed one of the world's strictest laws targeting homosexuality. Ghana has debated similar legislation, and in Kenya and Tanzania, enforcement has also intensified across the continent. Many leaders say they are pushing back against Western influence. To them, this issue is not just about sexuality, it's about who gets to define cultural value. The path savannah is the global cultural war. This debate has become part of much larger global divide. On one side are Western governments and human rights organizations. They argue that LGBTQ rights are part of universal human rights. On the other side are governments that believe these values are not culturally universal. Countries such as Russia and China have also positioned themselves as defenders of traditional social norms, and many African leaders increasingly see themselves as part of the resistance. So, what we what we are seeing is not just a domestic policy debate, it's a global ideological struggle over values. The part 8 of the story here is what happened next. The law is expected to be signed by Senegal's president Bassirou Diomaye Faye. If implemented fully, several things could happen. First, arrests could increase as police enforce the stronger penalties. Second, international criticism is likely to grow. Western governments and human rights groups may pressure Senegal to reconsider, but history suggests that such pressure can sometimes strengthen support for the law domestically, but because it reinforces the narrative of foreign interference. The final thought here is very simple. Senegal's new law is about more than criminal penalties. It reflects a deeper struggles over cultural identity and sovereignty. For supporters, the law protects traditional values. For critics,